Good afternoon. It's 9 after 1 Eastern Time on Monday, October 24th, 2022. Wanted to check in with what's going on with the ES today as far as how the stories have played out or have not played out. Um, First off, we're looking at the regular trading hours bar chart here, and we have not been able to remain below last week's high, and which is the dotted blue lines right here at 77.25. And moving on to the stories, let's just review. And we're only going to go through 1 and 2 because we haven't really, none of these others have played out, but these two are in play or have been in play. The first one, we're going to reverse because this, I'd say, was second. But the one that played out first is we gapped up 10 points. We did close the gap in B period, but rejected from the late spike at 37.55. So watch for a counter move rejection from the spike and prior day's range. All right, let's see what happened here. So you can see that we came down. We opened up here at 79.70, 70.5 or 79.75 it looks like, and traded up in A and then back down. And then in B period, opened way up here. We basically rotated all the way back down. So we were rotating above the prior high of day and came all the way back down, closed the gap, came into range through the overnight value area low, through settlement, through the close, all the way down to the spike base, which I had identified at 37.55. Okay, right here, 37.55. And it went through it from 55 to 52, like 12 ticks. So 3 points. And came back out, right? So came back out, C period opened up, came back down to the settlement, went through it a bit, came back into the overnight value area low, and it's rotated on up. So we actually got rejected again. Let me split this out. I should make this bigger for you. The C period, we never got back down to the spike, and then it was just a matter of climbing the ladder all the way back up through the C open above the prior high of day. So now we're back out of it. We got rejected out of the prior day's range, right? And let's split that off and let's look what the volume was looking like in the initial balance real quick. Okay, we had the bulk of the volume above the prior high of the day. You can see how it thins out, tapers off. We did start to get another distribution down here, but again, it came back out of here pretty solidly and quite a distance before we opened up in C, and volume very thin in C, and couldn't stay below settlement. Came back out of the prior high day. Volume started to pick up a bit in C right here. Okay, so let me pull these back together. Let's just see what it's looking like. You're going into C period. All right, I'm going into D period, I mean. All right, so a little bit evenly distributed when you put the two together. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, I was thinking this was the prior high of day from Friday, but this is down here at 69.5. You can see it's pretty well solidly above. The value's higher. The perception of value is higher, clearly, in the first hour and a half of the trade. And we opened up in D period, and then we rotated back down. So now we're rotating above the prior high of day, which brings us into story number 1. Gap up with 10 points, rotate within the overnight range above the prior high of day. And in this case, the best strategy, as far as I see it, is to trade responsibly until we see one-time framing develop or a shift in perception of value. So we did come down to prior high day, got kicked out again. All right, excuse me. Started to see one-time framing develop to the upside in E period, and then what happened? We got to the R1. What didn't happen? We didn't take out the initial balance high, the early morning high. So this didn't happen. We didn't stop one-time framing in G, but we have in this prior. We did about 15 minutes ago. Okay, it's 1:30 p.m. Eastern right now. So we stopped one-time framing. Does this mean we're not going to come back up? I don't know, but we may get another rotation down, or we may get a zigzag up here, like another TPO, and then, because we've got a volume distribution pretty good up here, okay? And the VPOC, the volume point of control, is right at 3,800. But right now, it's I mean, there's obviously bites to be taken at reference points and the price action exploiting that and whatnot. I have not been doing very well today at that, or trading my plan. I've been not feeling good, and it's affected me, and I've had to quit because I was making a mess. And it's unfortunate because I feel I have pretty good understanding, but just my being in tune and my reflexes and things were just not, my patience, everything is just a little bit off kilter. And wow, I hate to think you have to be that finely tuned precision machine like an IndyCar or something. But sometimes in trading, some alteration in your mood and what's going on in your life, how you're feeling, in my experience, it can profoundly affect how I trade, and today is no exception. And I had to knock it off because I was just getting it really wrong and wrong timing. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. I mean, the plans worked out great, but I didn't trade it. So early on, I realized, okay, I can't win for losing here because I'm just, my reflexes are bad. I'm just not clicking when I need to. Everything. So, confessions of a real human being trader. Are you a human? Check the box. Yes, I'm checking. This is my box check right here. I'm human. All right. So trade responsibly until one-time framing develops. Well, it did. Now it's stopped, or a shift in perception of value. So right now, trading responsibly is still on deck because we've got value today is definitively higher. Let's move this closer. All right. Here's the value area low for today. Right here, the gray and the white letters, they change. And then value area high is way down here from Friday. So very much value's up higher. Right now we've got a normal day. We're trading completely within the initial balance. And that could obviously change. Don't know, have any clue, which, I mean, it looks like, it wants to go higher because we have a week high in A period. We never took out the overnight high. So that's still on deck, right, is something that usually gets taken out. The overnight trade usually gets cleaned up, as it were. And we got an overnight volume point of control, goes back. I've had it marked out. I didn't. One thing I failed to do in my pre-market is I did try to clean up the charts a bit this weekend, but I have a lot of references identified above. We haven't been up here in a while, so I didn't really go through those. Maybe tomorrow, but we have a week high, and that A period came right to that overnight VPOC at 3808.75. Now I just went back and labeled it. If I don't label something, then later on I don't remember what it was. And I didn't label that for some reason at the time when I put it on there, and I had to scroll way back and see what the heck was that. Well, until I see that it doesn't seem to matter anymore, it still matters. I kind of looked like we traded through it at another point, but either way, it still seems to have been still seems to be a valid reference point. But odds seem high that we're going to come back through there. Plus, F is only 3 ticks away. That's not a lot of excess right here. So, I don't know. Anything could happen. But here we are. The tempo's kind of slow. And market internals are, let me make sure it's plugged in here. Yeah, they're pretty neutral. So, there you go. Stories 1 and 2. Story number 2 worked out beautifully. Story number 1 is working out, but it's one of those that will look beautiful in the rearview mirror, but how do you trade it? What do you do here? You're not on either end. Do you go short now because it looks like it's going down? And if you're going to be trading rotationally, you're trading responsibly. Where do you respond? Well, you depend on what time frame you want to trade in. You could trade responsibly. On the day, it's at the end extremes of value and beyond, and on the 30-minute, it's at the extremes of the TPO, or whatever, and just look at it in context as you know how to trade that. Okay, I don't know. I tend to always go into kind of how to trade stuff, and That's not important. I just want to talk about what may happen and strategies of, like, the exact entry strategies. Don't need to get into that. Everybody's too different probably, and but just strategy to trade this to be rotational. Right now the rotation appears to be back to the downside. How far will that come? Let's scrunch it up here a little bit. At this point, I could run some Fibonacci's on here and see what we've got. But the fact that we went all the way up here in A and then all the way down here in B, I don't want to necessarily use this low. I would actually be more inclined to use the A high, but I already know. We already came through. It's almost 100% retracement, right? So what do you do with that? Well, this is a corrective wave at this point. What's going on. I would say the odds are high that we're going back lower for a bit, maybe down to the VWAP, just midpoint, that kind of thing. But I don't know. And then there's the technique that I sometimes use. Do we have a new distribution? Excuse me. Do I need to make a separate profile? I could make an argument for that in E period right here. Let's see what it looks like. Sometimes it's worth just seeing what things look like. What does this look like? I'm not seeing anything noteworthy. But anyway, make a great afternoon. May or may not see you later for another kind of follow-up, but thank you, and have a great day. Bye.